Welcome to T's Multiverse. I'm your host Tyrus, and today we're going to talk What If Episode 2. Before I get into this review, I wanted to warn you guys that this will contain spoilers. Also, if you have not subscribed to the channel, please be sure to do so. I'd love for you to join Team Multiverse. If you haven't already, hit that bell notification so that you're notified when my videos drop. Also, hit that like button. Okay, now let's get into this review. Man, was that one heck of a tribute to the late great Chadwick Boseman. This episode was what I hoped it would be and more. Never thought that they'd find a way to pay homage to who he was as a person, and that is he was a true superhero. Despite what he was dealing with physically, he had a huge heart and he impacted so many around the world, and they were able to implement that within this what if story. And it worked. It really worked. And I really enjoyed it. The fact that you showed how his story would differ from Peter Quill's story was really interesting, because Peter Quill, it took him some time to really come into his own and see outside himself to where he was able to be for others than himself. T'Challa was always like that. He was a born leader. He had a huge heart. Being groomed as from an early age in Wakanda pretty much helped T'Challa transition into this really positive diplomat, which really impacted the entire universe as a whole, as we saw throughout this entire episode. You take the boy out of Wakanda, but still his ideals and his beliefs and his heart are still intact, which really impacted everyone throughout the cosmos in a way that I didn't think it would. In this episode, Yondu, he seeks to take Peter Quill from Earth. However, his henchmen, they mess up and they pick up T'Challa from Wakanda. And in doing so, T'Challa becomes this intergalactic superhero that everyone admires and respects because of all the good he's done throughout the galaxy. With T'Challa's influence, the Ravengers are no longer space pirates. They're more like intergalactic Robin Hoods. So he changes their overall mentality as well with him being in this role. One of the major things that he did was he changed Thanos' mentality. So Thanos is no longer the Mad Titan. He's created so much peace throughout the galaxy. The ideals, the motives that he was taught from his father and the people around him, he brought that as a little kid into adulthood, into that role as Star-Lord. So Star-Lord is no longer looked upon as who or a joke. It's looked upon with respect and admiration because of the good he's done throughout the galaxy. And that was interesting. So Thanos, he turns Thanos' mentality towards being this dictator who wanted to eliminate life and rule and all these things that he wanted to do in the original timeline. In this one, he's a part of the team, this new Guardians of the Galaxy team that includes, of course, Yondu, Korath, who was really cool. I really liked him. I'm hoping that they create a Korath figure because he was really funny. Of course, Nebula with the hair. So this time, Nebula is no longer this cybernetic being due to the treatment of her father, because he's no longer the Mad Titan. So she's a little different. You have Kraglin, and he was cool. So you have Thanos, Yondu, Korath, Nebula, and Kraglin, along with T'Challa, who create this new Guardians of the Galaxy team, which is really interesting. I really like what they did with this. It turns out to where the Collector is like the Mad Titan of this timeline. Another person that was impacted with T'Challa's motives throughout the cosmos is Drax. So Drax is at peace with his life. He's not this fierce warrior. He's working in a bar. His life is impacted with T'Challa's influence, which is huge homage to who Chadwick Boseman is as a person. Another thing that they did, which was really cool, the Black Order was still the Black Order. I really enjoyed this episode. It was really good. It was interesting to where you see all these adventures that they go on. They do battle with the Collector. After that, T'Challa grew up with Yondu thinking that Wakanda was destroyed. But Yondu lied to him, and finding out that Wakanda is still there, after battling the Collector, he locates a Wakandan ship in the Collector's lair. His medallion triggered a hologram image of his father, where it triggered a message where he was basically saying, hey, we've been looking for you. If anybody finds my son, let them know. So they've been looking for him throughout the cosmos. So ultimately it leads up to where he does come back home. And in coming back home, it's cool to see everyone interact. And then that leaves the door open for more possibilities of what else is to come. But then the post-credit scene, folks, is pretty interesting because remember, Peter Quill, he was not taken up. So he stayed on Earth, and his life plays out a little different to where he's working at Dairy Queen's. His father, Kurt Russell's character, walks inside of Dairy Queen's. He speaks to him. His eyes light up, it ends. It opens up the door for another what if of how his story kind of plays out now in meeting his father, not going on all those adventures and learning those things he learned through those adventures with his Guardians of the Galaxy team. Really interesting story. I really enjoyed this. Truly heartfelt. It was a wonderful tribute to Chadwick. That Black Panther film impacted the world in such a way that it really mirrored what his influence was throughout this What If episode 2. And that was positivity, togetherness, and a willingness to try to understand one another. I really love this episode. I don't know if they can do any better than this, but it really speaks to the greatness of the Marvel Studios team, to where they implementing these things into these stories to where they can impact the viewers in these positive ways, and they're just finding ways to really capture our imagination and our attention. So I really appreciate this. I really enjoyed this episode. I'm really loving the animation that they're utilizing for these episodes, the colors, the shell shaded look of these characters and the designs. I'm really liking this. So I look forward to each and every one of these episodes due to the animation as well. It's going to be interesting to see what this builds towards. You know, I know it's going to build towards something. Let me know in the comments. What did you think about this episode? Did you like it? Anything jump out at you? Was it something that I missed in this episode? Also, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please be sure to do so. Hit that bell notification so that you're notified when my videos drop. Hit that like button. Thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, be good to one another. Be safe. Stay tuned. Bye for now.